They said he was supposed to panic. They said anyone in his position would break down, confess, shake, or at least show a crack of fear. But he didn't. Not even once. And that is what scared everyone the most. Because when officers finally brought him in, after weeks of pursuit, he walked in like he already belonged there. No trembling hands, no lowered eyes, no hesitation. Just that strange, quiet smile, like he knew something nobody else did. The interrogation room was silent at first. Papers on the table, a ticking clock on the wall. 2 officers watching him carefully, waiting for the usual signs: stress, anger, denial, regret. Nothing came. Instead, he leaned back in the chair and smiled again. That smile wasn't loud. It wasn't arrogant either. It was calm, almost peaceful, and that made it worse. One officer finally asked, "Do you understand why you're here?" He nodded. Yes. No fear in his voice, no confusion, just certainty. That moment changed the entire atmosphere in the room, because people like him were not supposed to exist. As the questioning continued, fragments of his life began to surface. A childhood that wasn't stable, a world where trust was something he learned to avoid early, friends who disappeared, choices that piled up one after another until there was no easy way back. But still, none of it explained the calmness. At one point, an officer slammed a file on the table, trying to break him emotionally. "Do you even care what happens to you?" That's when he finally paused. For the first time, the smile faded slightly, but not into fear, into acceptance. He replied quietly, "Fear is for people who think they still control what happens next." The room went still. Outside that room, people built their theories. Some said he was cold. Some said he was broken beyond repair. Some even said he was dangerous because he felt nothing at all. But the truth was more complicated. Fear didn't disappear from his life. It just changed shape. He had already lived through things that made everything else feel smaller. Consequences, punishment, judgment, they didn't scare him anymore, because in his mind, they were already part of the story. And that smile? It wasn't joy. It was survival. A mask he learned to wear so the world couldn't see what was underneath. Because underneath that calm expression was a lifetime of emotions he never learned how to show the right way. Regret he buried too deep, pain he never spoke about, and choices he replayed in silence when no one was watching. As the interrogation ended, he looked at the officers one last time. Not as a villain, not as a victim, but as someone who had already accepted his ending long before anyone else arrived. And that final smile returned again. Softer this time, almost human, almost gone. So the question was never, why wasn't he afraid? The real question is, what kind of life takes fear away from a person completely, before the world even gets a chance to judge them?